Hi, and thanks for logging on to the Daily DVAR Halacha. And here's a brand new halacha for you, and it is for Monday, 21st day of December, 6th day of Teves. Here we go. I want to teach you about a historical event that happened on the 8th of Teves. That's this coming Wednesday. I'm not a massively great historian, but here's what I know. You know that way back in the time of the second Beis Hamikdash, there was King Alexander the Great, and he was the king over the Greek kingdom, and they controlled a lot of area. And that was Alexander Mukdan, Macedon, I think he's called. And then after his death, he died kind of young. And after he died, there were these massive splits, and a Talmai took over. And altogether, I think there were five Talmais. Um, and one of them, I don't know which one, it might have been the second, but you have to ask a historian. But one of the Talmais had this massively important Greek idea that he wanted to get the Torah translated into Greek. But he wanted an authentic copy that had no alterations. So what he did was he nabbed 70 Zakanim, 70 elders from the Jewish people with no warning. And he just bopped them into 70 different rooms without any warning, without telling them what they were going to be doing in those rooms. So they had no chance to confer. And then he said, I'm going to supply you with food, and you're trapped in this room until you finish translating for me the whole, I think it was the five books of Chumash. And he knew now that he had 70 different rabbis working on it, he would get to see if they were touching up the translation and not letting him know the full secrets of the Torah. And they had no way to confer. They were just thrown in these rooms before they even knew what was happening. So they all started translating. So I'll tell like a storyteller here real quick. So in room number one, first rabbi had trouble with the first couple of words. It says, Bereshis bara Elokim, in the beginning God created. No, Bereshis bara Elokim literally translated means in the beginning created God. And he said, oh no, if I translate that literally, and it says in Greek, in the beginning created God, then these Greeks are going to think that there is a power called the in the beginning, and in the beginning created God. So he swapped it around, and he had to, and he said, it'll say in my translation, God created in the beginning, which is a little alteration. But amazingly, Rabbi number 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way up to 70 made the exact same change. 70 rabbis made the exact same change. And then they got to the words Nasa Adam et Salmenu Kid Musenu. I'm just telling you a few of the alterations they made. Let us make man in our image. And they first rabbi said, oh no, I can't translate that as let us make man. This crazy Greek king is going to think that there are a lot of gods up there. And God was talking to all the gods, and he said, let us make man. So he made a little alteration and said, I will make man. And Rabbi 2, 3, 4, 5, all the way up through 70 made the exact same change. And that's amazing. They got to some other ones. And I'm going to tell you a fun one. When they got to the list of the non-kosher animals, they knew that one of the non-kosher animals was called an arneves. I think that's a rabbit. And Rabbi number 1 said, oh no, arneves happens to be the wife of Talmai. And if we say in our Torah translation that arneves is not kosher, that's going to insult him and he's going to go crazy. So I'll just call it like the fast-running hare instead of like the rabbit. And Rabbi 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, all the way to 70 made the same change. Long story short, many changes were made, and they were all identical. Let me repeat that. It's astounding. 70 rabbis made many changes in the translation because of this crazy king and what would happen if they, said it the right way. And 70 rabbis made many changes, and they were all identical. Seems like a miracle. If you were asking me, I would have made the 8th of Teves a miracle day, and maybe we would say Hallel. Our rabbis, who of course are way wiser than you and me, decided that it was a sad day. a sad day, even though this amazing miracle happened on the 8th of Teves, that's this Wednesday. And they called it sad because now the Greeks had a translation of our Torah. They lost that mystical, dreamy magic that the Torah had, which only the Jewish people knew, was now open to the masses. They read our book, all of them, and said, big deal. So there was a guy called Adam, Eve, Abraham, so what? And they had all those cuckoo questions that they asked in the stories, and it actually brought down the great majesty of the Torah because now the Greeks thought that they understood the whole thing and they said, big deal, we already know your Torah. And of course, they didn't understand anything at any level because they didn't have all of the wisdom that we've been taught to explain the Torah properly. And so the rabbis considered it a very sad day. There are actually righteous people who would have considered fasting on the 8th of Teves. You and I won't be fasting. I'll tell you later in the week, we'll be fasting on the 10th of Teves this Friday, but more coming up about that a little bit later. Sorry, this was a little long. Um, so thanks for logging on. And this is Wednesday that I'm talking about. The 8th of Teves is the translation of the 70 rabbis. It has some fancy name called the I can't pronounce it properly, but it's considered a sad day in our lore because now they think they all know our Torah and they don't. Okay, I apologize for being long-winded today. Have a great day. Log on again tomorrow for more. Bye bye.